with Republican strategist Brian Graham. Brian, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
What do you make first of this tweet by Donald Trump about these tapes?
Well, first, if I were president of the United States, I don't think I'd be tweeting about tapes in the White House, because that just brings back some bad memories in American history. Furthermore, I would argue that Donald Trump would probably have more to lose from taped conversations than anyone else involved in those conversations.
But is it a threat to James Comey?
I'm not sure if it's a threat or not, but it certainly is an interesting tweet. It's an odd tweet. I'm not sure why he would feel the need to do that. And hopefully James Comey is not leaking information to the press either, as that would not be appropriate for him.
All right, let's talk about something else we heard from the president. And again, this was tweeted out about press briefings and the idea that maybe the White House won't do them anymore. Just statements will be put out. What do you make of that one?
Well, look, I think it's great that we have a president that communicates with the American people. He's very open to interviews. He's very open to being on social media, Twitter. It's wonderful that there is a president, a person in the White House who is reading and listening to the American people. He's watching cable TV news shows. He pays very close attention. I think that's great. I also think it's good that the White House press office has been very open and very accessible for the press, even though the press sometimes has not been their best friends. I don't think that is a stretch to say. And so I don't think it would be beneficial for the White House in any ways to limit communications with the American people or the press. But I do think that those communications should be coordinated and cautious.
Yeah, I think the problem here is that it seems like his press people, although you say this is a president who likes to communicate, he's not communicating very well with his communications people. So the message that gets out there seems to sometimes be a little gray or completely wrong. And then those same press people have to come back the next day and say, actually, it was this way or it was that way.
Well, I can understand the job that Sean Spicer has. He arguably has the most difficult job in the United States, trying to keep up with the administration and everything that it does each and every day is very, very difficult. It's also very difficult sometimes to get hold of these people immediately when you need an answer to answer the press. That's not easy. To get in to see the president is not necessarily easy to do.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue that point, but there are many press secretaries of the past who get the right information in the beginning and disseminate that and don't have to come back to apologize, or not even to apologize, but to correct the information that they gave the day before or hours before. It's a job that's been done very well by other people.
Well, look, it's very clear that the president changes positions, changes his mind quite often. And he makes statements on Twitter which cause the press secretary to go back and change what he previously said. Now, for the press secretary, that's very difficult. Having a president that is so accessible makes it difficult on a press secretary, because this president is not scripted. He's very open and accessible. So when he's doing that, he is making these statements and contradicting himself. And look, any person would run into these issues if they were the president of the United States and tweeting all the time and talking all the time and going to various meetings. It's very easy to make these mistakes. And it's very easy and look, he's not a politician. That's another thing. The guy's a businessman. He's not a politician. He's not used to this. He's not used to this heat. You would hope that he would have been used to it through the campaign trail and through these last couple of months would have learned and changed, but he appears not to have. So, you know, I feel bad for Spicy sometimes because he's got a difficult job.
But does it show a disrespect to his own people, Trump's own people, to not put them in the loop or to openly do an about face online, whether he's tweeting or whatever, to something they have said and put out there?
Well, it's certainly not easy to be, Sean Spicer. I can tell you that. I would not like that job because Donald Trump is hard to control. He's hard to work with, apparently, with press, because he will just go out and say something without vetting it, without talking it over. He clearly is not the guy that goes through advisors to do his social media. He just does it himself. And that, in some respects, is not a good thing because of the mixed messages that it sends.
We got to leave it there. Republican strategist Brian Graham joining us today. Brian, thanks for your time. I appreciate that.
Thank you.